Hello, everyone. How are you doing? And welcome to another episode of the Dr. Will Show, where we have the discussions. Look at her. Where we have the discussions that inform, entertain, and empower educators to be the change. I am your host, Dr. Will, and I am here with Suzanne Nguyen, aka StringStory. How are you doing, Susan?
Thank you for having me, Dr. Will. It's great to be here. I'm doing fabulous. Having a great time in San Francisco.
Thank you for being a guest on the show. You know, you're international. I say your Instagram and how you're just traveling all over the world, doing awesome things. So again, thank you for being a guest on the show. And today, people, we're going to be talking about video, social media, and business. And what drew me to Susan first, and she mentioned it in her video. So first I saw her and I saw the glasses. And then of course you see her and then you hear the accent. And then you're kind of going, yeah. Okay.
As you can tell, I'm Australian with a really blonde, blue eye kind of look.
Yes. And then you watch her videos, you see the content. And her vlogs are amazing. So you got to check that out. So then I knew I wanted to have her on the show. So I reached out on Twitter.
And I thought it was the fried chicken that drew you in.
Oh, man. She has fried chicken parties, people. Okay. I mean, that's...
just to give you some context for people listening. So what I do is I travel around the world, interview startups and innovators and founders and investors within the startup and technology space. And because it's like a global business when you think about it, and I organize fried chicken parties in each city that I go to. So it's like I'm organizing one in San Jose, and the last one I had in Shenzhen, Hong Kong. I mean Shenzhen and Hong Kong, which is in China. So it's that's what I do.
Awesome. So she's international with her chicken, people. So it's going to be all good. So let's just jump into it. What drew you to social media, and how is technology in general impacting human interaction and relationships?
Well, social media, well, when you think about it, I'm a millennial, as you can tell from my face. And social media is like a second nature to me. I share things on there. The first place that I want to share news is on social media. So it's really innate for me. And lately what I've done is I started becoming a better curator on social media. And I use I realized technology is such a fast moving pace, and I like learning about the latest new things. So technology is something that I gravitated towards a couple of years ago, and I just happened to be a better geek translator than most people on there. My communication skills is on par with some of the best geeks out there. And I just happen to have a different perspective of it, and people just happen to want more. They want to learn more from my perspective about what I see about the latest blockchain, AI technology, cannabis, and what are the difference between different startups in different worlds, different cities, I should say. And awesome. And at the end of the day, what is the common trait about them? A lot of people, the difference between me and the geek is that geeks talk about the technology part, how it's created, whereas I talk about how technology impacts people. So at the end of the day, people, business, and technology, it's all about how it impacts people.
Excellent. So when you are vlogging, and I've seen vlogs of yours where, you get personal. How do you decide how much of yourself you are willing to share? And are you ever concerned that any of your videos will have a negative impact on your business?
I'm quite lucky with what I share, because these stories, it's not like it's new. It just happens to be one that people think about but not willing to share. So it's everything in your head, the people who are willing to share that part of them, the vulnerability part of them, are things that people generally experience. It just happens to be articulated better with people who just want to communicate it. And video, I think, is just a very personal medium, because at the end of the day, it's like the face. You connect with people when you get to see the face and you see the emotions coming through them. And you can't fake it on video. Or you can fake it, but generally the sense of authenticity coming through.
So you aren't concerned? Like I remember,
like it's like one platform that I want to be independent of. Like most clients that choose me is because of my perspective building.
So speaking of business, you are an entrepreneur. What made you take the leap to jump into business for yourself? And how do you decide which projects to say yes to?
It's going back to the previous question or the previous answer, like my voice is really important. So it's like being able to say things and maintain my own point of view is something that is really important to me. So one of my values is being able to maintain my voice, my creativity. And because I have a value system, like it has to be about families and relationship, creativity, diversity, and innovation. I have those 4 values in place because I believe in them. And like if those projects don't align with those values, I say no to them. And because of that, and I realized like I like work. I don't like working for the boss at the end of the day. I don't mind collaborating with people, but I find that like people who try to like diminish my voice, I always tend to walk away from them. So I realized I can't work with like the traditional hierarchy of the boss and minions kind of like scale or hierarchy.
Oh, all right. You know, I have a job and I do some consulting on the side. I want to do more of it because having a job means I work for somebody, which means that my financial livelihood rests, you know, in the hands of someone else. So I'm doing things to kind of, you know, mitigate that and to take more ownership of the dollars coming into, you know, my way.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's all about cash flow, right?
Yes.
So cash flow for you at the moment, it's like maybe 70%, 50% goes through being paid like on a consistent basis. How can you replace that so then like you have like an ongoing like cash flow from something else that gives you regular passive income? Like it doesn't have to be passive, it could just be regular income. So the subscription model, if you're a content maker, the subscription model is a great way of like building it up to the point where like you have regular income going through your way.
And we're going to get
we'll get to that.
Now I want to get into that because, you know, I've been sending you emails and the tweets about, you know, supporting a string report. Yeah, the string report and stuff. So, you are doing some things. I'm telling you, you know, when I see your videos, I say you talking to Gary Vee and you're going all over these places. I'm like, this is amazing. So let's jump in to content creation. There's all kind of content out there, and you have broken it down into candy versus substance. Please explain what you mean, and does one need to strike a balance between the two, or choose one?
It's like, okay, so I have a string theory about the way we consume content and the way we make content. And I use candy versus substance because like what we like consume is how we nourish ourselves. So on a scale of candy content, we have candy. Candy is like anything to do with sugar rush or have to do with like visual, like, you know, like eye candy. Kim Kardashian fits into that. Pranks fit into that. Like anything that's like not brain dead, but entertains you and makes you laugh. Pranks work into that. So that like anything in terms of entertainment and gives you a sugar rush and makes you laugh, usually viral content, like the ones that you want to share, like a moment of lols with a friend, fits into candy content. And then on the other scale, we have the substance content. Like those tend to be very like dry sometimes. Anything to give you, nourish your brain, knowledge, your heart, whether it be health or motivates you, and your hip pocket, whether it be money. I'm just using Gary Vee as an example because he's like a classic example of a person who gives you knowledge to execute to make you money. So it's like not everyone fits all 3 of them in terms of substance, but it like allows you to like break it down like, okay. And sometimes like people don't like candy. So they, you know, that they're all about substance and they only care about knowledge and like growing their like their brains and their health or depending on what it is. or that some people who just don't want substance content and just want brain dead content. So that fits into candy content. Well, the sweet spot is able to combine like using, the sweet spot combines both of them. That's the third one altogether. And how do you find balance? It's like sometimes like if you look at Instagram, there's a lot more candy content on there, whether girls be in bikini, visual aspect, food porn, motivations, like there. Then there are substance. If you want substance, you have to go probably like email subscriptions, YouTube channels, but YouTube channel has both. So it depends on what you want. So like by using that scale, you kind of know where you fit automatically. So it's like, where do you fit, Dr. Will? Like, are you a substance type, or do you have a bit of candy and mostly substance?
I think I have substance. I don't know. Yeah, just substance. I don't have certain things in my content or pictures. I do work in public education, so I got to keep it.
Yeah, and I'm playing around with like developing this content or sweet spot where I'm using humor or personalities and to break down very large topics or very complex topics, and using my visual anchors to help break it down what these complex stuff is. So it's like for me, education should a little bit entertaining. Otherwise, it'd be super dry.
Yes.
But for me to keep on developing that, I just need to produce content that keeps on playing with the sweet spot.
Okay, so speaking of it, let me throw this out there to you. You spoke earlier about you have your values and things have to align. And when you look at the sweet spot and the content you're trying to do, how do you decide what videos to create, what to vlog about? Is that something you sit down and strategize, or is it just, hey, I'm feeling like speaking about this today and I'm going to go with it?
Well, both. I strategize because I look at trends. And then I know what are the topics that people are inherently gravitate towards. But there will be days where I feel like I'm human, and those are the days when my content connects with those people the most, which is interesting. So the ones like me just sharing about, for example, an ex-boyfriend reaching out to me and it's been 10 years. That one, connects with a lot of people. Or me having a bad day about work. Those are the ones that I don't want to do it on a regular basis, because I believe your vibe attracts your tribe, and your vibe also outputs the amplification of 10 times if you want. So if I have a bad day, I find that it resonates and amplifies 10 times. So I try not to have those negative days. But because of that, I feel like it makes it more precious sharing those vulnerability moments of everyone else. I actually, I do both. I have a content plan where my string report is 8 weeks ahead of time. That because I know what are the topics are trending right now, or what are the ones. So in many ways, I do see the future a little bit. Because I'm a curious geek of the future. But still, I don't share my vulnerabilities or my vlogs in the string report. The string report is super curated. That's more substance. But I'm trying to but people subscribe to it because they want a different point of view, a female point of view, a POC point of view, an outsider's point of view. Because I'm one of the things that I get to see is I get to see inside the point of view, but I see it from an outside point of view. So it's I see it from a totally different view from a typical white male writer, for example.
Okay. Well, since you ease that in there, what is the string report? And what was sort of, because you're doing your things, what was sort of the genesis for starting it?
Okay, the String Report is a weekly TV show that goes into your inbox about the latest technology. It would be the future of cannabis, the future of AI, the future of blockchain, the future of video. Just things that you should be aware of as a business, or a person who wants to be ahead of the game. And And I find that like I'm getting some really good results, because one of the reasons is because like I'm getting all these like information coming through. Interviewed over 150 innovators in the last 4 to 5 months, that it needed to be curated afterwards. And the Story Report is that, like, it's a business expense as well at the end of the day, because then like you could use it as a way to like, hey, like to validate some of your ideas, to see where the trends are going, to be aware of what the, you know, I feel like busy people don't have time to always research about things. At least this one is like, okay, if you're not interested in AI, this is why AI is important. Like, you don't have to be like involved with cannabis, but it does impact you on a daily. It's going to impact us on an everyday basis, because once it becomes regulated for everywhere in the world, you go see it like on the streets more. You go probably smell it on the streets when we're walking. Like like my kids will probably smell it on the streets if anything, because it's just like it's going to be that like every day over time, which is really interesting, because it's like it's illegal, but people do it behind. And you know, it's got the biggest secret community out there, because like there are being users like testing it out before they even work, you know, like before they become official in like government positions and everything like that. I bet you, if anything, it's probably hidden in their skeleton closets. Like they probably smoked marijuana or tested it out and tried it out. So it's like this inherent user base that's like bigger than most things already. And so it's like that's what I'm like looking into. So that for it to be legal is going to be super interesting for us, I think. And so these are the conversations that I'm having, not from a like a technology aspect. It's like how it's going to impact us on a human level. And yeah, that's the conversation, because I feel like there's like a human aspect that's missing from this missing from the technology aspect. Like, because all the conversations about innovation, but no one's talking about how it's impacting us on a society level.
Mm-hmm. So I read about where you said that Snapchat is like a TV channel. Mm-hmm. So let's jump into sort of mobile video content creation. You know, Snapchat, Periscope, Instagram stories. They connect people in ways that scripted video content just doesn't. How does one decide which mobile technology or platform is a better match for them and sort of the stories they want to tell?
Okay, let's give it a framework. If you're building up a personal brand, go where your audience hangs out the most. Like, because it's like I realize like what I do is really hard to do. Like I go for Snapchat and then I push it out onto other platforms. But not everyone has the bandwidth or the habits to do that on a regular basis. So I just recommend that you just go where your audience is, because social media, like it's a tedious habit to do. But if you just can stay consistent on it, you'll probably build up an active following, just because people want to hear what you have to say. And finding and cultivating that group, the community, is more important as a personal brand. Because like for example, like I was on Meerkat 2-3 years ago and had like 44,000 followers. You know, like I was sad that it dropped out, but the skill sets and the community that like I gained from it is still going. Like people still follow me on different platforms. That's kind of like why I kind of knew that video is like my favorite medium, because like people want more videos from me and they're willing to like jump across like 5 different platforms just to see what I have to do on it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love your videos. You know, once I started, I saw a couple of them. I said, okay, now let me go to YouTube, and I'm just going to sit here and just start clicking. You know, I'm just going to watch, and I'll follow you on Instagram too. So I love the videos. They feel fresh, spontaneous, like you're trying to be a star, but you are actually inviting people, you know, into your life. So I love them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So now I want to throw this out there to you, because there are people like myself. Now, I do my podcast via this hangout, and then I push them out audios, SoundCloud, it's on YouTube, and then I put it on uh, iTunes as well. But you travel and you're doing all of these video interviews. How do you get people to actually sit down with you?
Well, I have two things. Is like, I think I value their time, and also because I have a portfolio of work to show that I interview other people of their caliber. And in San Francisco, like, I feel like people, you just have to reach out to them. Like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm gonna be here at this time. Do you have the time and availability to chat about X, that their like expertise topic? So you just have to be very succinct when you like you communicate with them. Don't give them an essay. They don't have time to read essays. And then drop down a few links that like is comparable to what you want to show them, and so it's gonna be like this, and that's it. And like 90% of the time, they say yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been pretty, blessed to have people say yes to my podcast. Again, thank you for being a guest on the show. I always tell people I'm surprised, because I'm not Oprah.
But people love talking about themselves. It's like, I want to be Oprah. I want to be to the point where like even Elon Musk says yes to me eventually, and that's not being big-headed. It's just like, I know that if I had a conversation with him, it'd be great. But I just want to see what he's like as a person as well. And having that like attention with him for like an hour would be amazing, because not a lot of people have that. It will be blessed to have his attention for 1 hour. So it's like, or like people think I interview people, but I'm just documenting a moment of their time, of like their pinpoint of their history of their life as a startup. So it's like, for me, I'm like, people don't realize it, but I'm like a person who documents the lives of startups. So I'm interested in focusing on that.
Nice. That's a quotable right there. I need to tweet that out. That's a quotable right there. I've read blog posts. I've watched videos from all sorts of influencers who talk about the importance of consistency in producing content. How important is it to be consistent? And if so, how should someone post new content on should they choose one medium?
Well, it depends. Are you talking about like people who are starting out, middle of the career, or like?
But yes, I mean, because I didn't do as many podcasts as I do now when I first started out, and maybe that had impact in sort of how my show has caught on. So in the past year, my guests have gotten bigger, and I've gotten more views, but I've also have been more consistent in posting my content. And part of me doing that was because I was looking at YouTube, I was reading blog posts, and these influencers were saying, be consistent so that your audience can follow you and that your audience have something to look forward to.
If you're starting out, I say frequency is more important. Frequency is more important because like a lot of people don't make enough content. There's very few people creating original content. Like if I say 1% are content creators, 3% are curators, and 96% are consumers. So where do you fit? Very few people create content. So if you're starting out, if I were you, I'd just like create volume of content, then focus on consistency. Because like consistency means like you build enough following at the beginning that you could create consistent content. And here on YouTube, for example, creating daily, you'll do better than a person who do once a month. It's just like, it's just a numbers game at the end of the day. Like LinkedIn is like, I'm planning to push out probably a daily LinkedIn post about technology every day. Just because I want to see if I can grow organically that way. And it's all about habits. People have creature of habits. If they know that your post is like of high value or like have a different point of view or something that could give them different insights, of course they go follow you.
Mm. Wow. See, I should charge people for this podcast. The gems that you are dropping today.
Because it's just based on my experience. But I'd just say like frequency is like more important if you're starting out. Like no one has told me that they're sick of my like videos yet, which is really interesting.
So earlier you mentioned branding.
Mm-hmm.
How do you define a brand? And how can, okay, go ahead.
There's a formula that I have for like personal branding: your vision, your values, your voice, and your voice. Values, voice, vision. Yeah, vision, values, voice, and oh well, I write it down somewhere. But those 4 V's is your personal branding. Oh yeah, vision, values, visuals, and your voice equals your brand. So when you figure those 4 out, like you just know exponential growth. Like for example, you pointed to my glasses. So that's part of my visual branding.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I need mine, because if I don't have mine, I'm not seeing past a certain distance.
That too. Like someone asked me, it's like, why don't you like do Snapchat more or wear Snapchat glasses more? It's like it actually ruins my brand because I'm known for my brand. Like these glasses, my voice, like Asian face, even like my Australian accent is part of my branding now.
Awesome. So how can vlogging fit into one's branding strategy?
Here's like a tactic that you could like execute today. If you do 1-minute videos, whether it be like through Facebook Live or whether it be like a video, even your phone, as long as it's like a 6S up or similar, if you could do 1-minute videos per day, then it's just a matter of habit. Like just like what are your highlights? Like if you need a format, it's like, what's your story? Like it's like answering 1 question per day. What's your story? Why? Like what did you learn today? What can you do to improve on today? Like there's like a basic thing that you can like share, and it becomes like a bit of a vlogging is pretty much a diary format, pretty much. Like what are your thoughts about something? Like branding at the end of the day, or like using video is sharing an opinion about something. That's what people want to hear. It's like you sharing an opinion about something.
So before we go, what is your call to action for those who are not quite sold on video?
If you're interested in technology and want to be ahead of the curve and just a curious geek of the future as well, follow me on my YouTube channel and StringStory everywhere. And if you like what I do, please subscribe to my String Report.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you again, Susan, for being such an awesome guest on the show. This is a highlight of my day. And I'm going,
Thank you for having me. I enjoy the conversation as well.
I have one last question to ask you because it just popped into my head. You have these fried chicken parties.
Yes.
Where have you had your best fried chicken?
This is like a common question. Like my 3 best fried chickens are one in Sydney. It's like a but I think it's because it's got the like the gravy with it. Like they have the best gravy with the fried chicken. Gus Fried Chicken, you could have it in a few cities in America, which is a franchise, but it's like it got a spicy slant to it. And Little Skillet in San Francisco. Those are my favorite fried chickens. But I can't wait to go back to Sydney and eat Mary's, the fried chicken there with the gravy.
Fried chicken with the gravy. That is all right. That is all right. People, you know how I do it here. This is going on my blog. It's going to be on YouTube. Please subscribe to my channel. It's also going on SoundCloud and iTunes. We're on iTunes now, people, and I want to share it through all of the social platforms that I'm on. Thank you again, Suzanne, for being a guest on the show. As always, people, invest in you, eat of you.
Thank you.